It's the summer of surrender, so stay tuned to the very end of our episode to hear a testimony that puts what we learned today in action. We can't wait to hear how it inspires your faith.
Surrendering your fears. This one is a lot, but thankfully God is a gentleman, so he only does as much as you can handle. Mm-hmm. Some of us are trapped in fears based on wounds from our childhood. Some of us are trapped in irrational fears that can stem from so many things, honestly. Mm-hmm. So we just want to talk about a very introductory piece of surrendering your fears, because surrendering your fears is a lifelong pursuit. Yeah. You're not just gonna rip off the Band-Aid of fear and be hunky-dory forever.
Yep.
The spirit of fear is something that tries to take us on constantly. I think 1 Timothy talks about, for you have not been given a spirit of fear, but one of a sound mind, and a couple other things. Can't remember the exact quote, but it talks about the fact that it's going to try, but you have to be certain of your identity in God. That you the thing you might be fearful of might be actually a call to mission underneath the wound. The thing that you fear might actually just be something you need to give to him, because he's going to take care of the rest. There are so many mindset shifts, things that we can remind ourselves of, truths that we can claim from God that will help us surrender our fears and let him transform them into trust and willingness and vulnerability.
With that, we invite you to the Summer of Surrender. Kept my hands down.
I know, I noticed that. And we lacked enthusiasm.
Floppy hands. I did enthusiastic hands.
People are
no
tired.
hands.
Wow, way to keep people on their toes.
I'm trying.
They're tired of hearing about the hands, I'm sure.
It's fine. We recorded the same night.
If you would just give us feedback, we would know about the hands.
Really, it's your fault. Just kidding.
Please stay. No, they heard surrender your fears and they hit stop.
No.
Oh, look at the time. I gotta go. Surrender your... This
fears.
one is intense.
Yeah.
There are so many, I think, silly things out in the world. I kind of just wrote about this on Substack. I'll link it below. I called it the Symphony of Silence. But I just remember watching, a scary movie with friends in middle school. And somebody was like, they always say, 3 o'clock is the witching hour. 3 o'clock is the devil's hour.
That one used to get
those
me.
Kinds of things. Mm-hmm. It used to get me, too. And I would be terrified at 3 a.m. if I ever woke up.
Yeah.
There was a serious spirit of fear trapping me. And the only way I felt safe was clutching my rosary and praying. Until I finally, had an inner healing session and learned more about the fact that I was giving Satan way too much credit. And I was like, wait a minute. This is Trinity Hour?
Yeah.
3 times the prayer points.
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
It counts thrice.
It counts. Thrice.
You know what's funny
Very
is
biblical.
Doing all of this learning about wounds and spirits and things, I have come to understand that the root of most of the spirits is pride. That's their driving factor. Even if it's not the spirit of pride, right? You could probably trace it back to pride in some way, shape, or form. Pride is sneaky. But,
shout out to the Garden of Eden.
Yeah. So the root is pride, more often than not. But the entryway, more often than not, is fear.
That's the way you open that door.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so true. Well, if you fear that you won't be loved,
yeah,
you'll compensate with pride. If you fear that you won't get it right, you'll compensate with pride and perfectionism or control.
Once I started applying these fears to prayer sessions, I started seeing a big shift in the amount of freedom that would happen in a prayer session. And because we would renounce failure. And as a leader starting out, I renounce the spirit of failure. and they would feel some relief from that. But then it was, I renounce the fear of failure, and they were like, ooh, that one hit. And because we don't realize that fear is a lot of these things, is what's driving a lot of these things in our life.
So many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with an eating disorder, you might have a fear of becoming fat.
Mm-hmm.
Or a fear of gaining weight. Or a fear of not being beautiful.
Yeah.
And that even goes back to an identity issue of pride and how your body looks. If you're dealing with, like, even a fear around finances, this was something I struggled with too.
Yeah.
You might be like, I fear, not living this lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's a fear of I won't get what I want, or I won't be able to live the way I expected. When the reality is, our quality of life is not in material items, but it's in living for Christ, and He does the rest.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So much of it goes back to that. And so we choose pride, that if we control this thing, work harder, act like this, put certain things in our body, leave it out, whatever we do, it will fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it really just band-aids it, because...
Right. Spirit and control, or fear and control are friends.
Ugh,
Yeah.
So true.
Because, like,
They're
I'm sure you
besties.
could hear, gross. You could hear in her examples, I must do this to get this outcome, or
Control.
if I don't do this, then this won't happen. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm. And we do that with our faith too. If you are a by the book person, again, nothing wrong with that. Jesus also followed the rules, but He let the Holy Spirit fill the gaps. Sometimes we forget that, okay? We say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt keep holy the Sabbath day. You follow the commandments, but you do it with your actions and not your heart. You're like, if I follow these rules, then I can expect this outcome. But Christ also says, if you don't have love, you don't have anything.
right.
So if you aren't going to Mass for the love of Christ, for the intimacy with Christ, to just relive the amazingness that is the supper with the bridegroom, the wedding supper of the bridegroom, then you're not controlling an outcome. You're missing the point.
Right.
Control and fear blinds you from truth, beauty, and goodness.
1,000%.
And it's hard. Don't get us wrong. We've had so many fears.
Yeah.
So many fears. But
Some we still work on.
yes,
New ones
100%.
pop up.
I think, every parent fears losing their kids.
Yeah.
That's a very human one.
Yeah.
Or fears losing their spouse. Or, those are heavy hitters. Or, fears what people think. They fear, especially your friends, messing up. You fear a lot of things. You can even fear being incapable of doing things. There's so much to fear. So really surrendering it is giving one thing to God and renouncing it. In the name of Jesus Christ, I renounce the spirit of fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of whatever. And then renouncing it, and then asking God what He wants to give you in exchange. What truth do you need to know? Or what wound does He need to show you? This is a great one to just kind of run and have a prayer session for.
Yeah.
Because the Lord can reveal a lot of things in a prayer session. We will have some questions. When we say fear, what's the first thing that creeps up? Is it a visceral reaction? I think that's a big one. If you are fearful of something and it is visceral, your body goes, oh,
Yeah.
you feel it, then it's something you might want to pay attention to. God might be highlighting it
Yeah.
for a reason. Or if it paralyzes you, I think that's a big reason why fear and control show up in our lives so much, is because it paralyzes you. It keeps you from doing the work of God.
Mm-hmm.
You go, I'm scared, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And God says, I am your shield, I am your armor.
Yeah.
You put on, the breastplate of righteousness, and you hold my shield and the sword of truth, and all of those things. I don't remember which each piece means. I should have them memorized. But
Back to the first issue of the magazine.
yes, exactly.
Or the second.
Oh, wait.
First? Second?
second.
Yeah.
I think Ephesians is second. This is the first one.
Ah!
Right here. But second one. Go buy our magazine, guys. There's so much good stuff in there.
You'll be able to tell us what we put in each one.
Exactly. www.holysurrender.com. You guys could be the reason we keep up on this podcast. It is a community effort, guys.
To keep these brains organized.
We have kids, okay?
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
We're fine. God asked us to do this, so we're here. Okay? That's
Facts.
it. We're here. That was
We're here. Late at night.
as far as it went, as per usual.
Yeah.
And the enemy has done a great job
Oh,
today
man.
trying to get in the way of us recording this
This was-
podcast. Shout out to
That's a lot.
shout out to him for trying.
Okay, I was like, shout out to him. What? For trying.
Too bad God's
But-
better. And he got
Boom.
us here. We trusted that God would get us through it, and every time this has happened, the episodes have been super duper
Really good.
fruitful. They've been great. And that's because I think the cycle of surrender is going to transform so many lives.
Yeah. We just talked about it again last night and really kind of took a deep dive into things. I don't want to give too much away. But,
We're really excited.
that's the point. I'm so excited.
We are, we do have a little bit of fear. We are a little chickeny about it because we're putting ourselves out there. But you have to believe that God is greater than that fear. That he can redeem anything. That his mercy is far more vast than your failures, far more vast than your physique, far more vast than anything you could imagine, any negative thought you could have about yourself. And you have to just step out and see the fruit, okay? Yeah. Peter messed up a ton, okay? Paul did a number on a lot of Christians. One of the craziest thing I saw was that, Paul walked into heaven to the cheers of, hundreds of people that he killed. I know! Can you imagine? Talk about a failure. I killed lots of my Christian brothers and sisters, and they were like, bro, you made it! Good job!
I know, that's wild.
It is!
That is why heaven, to try to wrap my mind around heaven, that fact alone right there is I really don't like you, but I want to see you up there so we can be friends.
Forever.
What? Forever.
And ever and ever and ever.
You won't be able to shake me.
BFFLs. Wait,
BFFEL! Bracelets! Best friends for eternal life.
I'm here for it, guys. Let us know if you want a bracelet. We can start a club. It'll be a reminder that we want to be best friends for eternal life.
I actually love this so much.
You think we're joking, but seriously, some of these comments we would love to read. It would be good. It would be so good. BFFELs.
I've already got the Tumblr design in my head. It's fine.
It's
happening. What is this?
We need BFF bracelets. Stat. Clearly it's meant to be. Woo! Digressing to fear. God's mercy, it's hard to wrap your head around that. So we say that and we get it because there was a time where we're like, yeah, we get that his mercy is vast, but whatever.
Yeah.
Taking a teeny tiny step to giving him your fear and embracing the good he has for you helps that, slowly come down. Because at the end of the day, he is it. And you see this in, in your marriage prep stuff, you see this in any sort of scripture study that our goal is God. Everything else is auxiliary in a way. Because if we're striving for God, people will be drawn to that and they will follow. They will be drawn to God, not to you, assuming you are being humble, operating in virtue, those kinds of things.
Right.
But, your spouse is auxiliary to God. He is he's a very vital part of it. You guys are bound spiritually, you're bound physically, but God is the center. Without that, marriage fails.
Right.
Your kids are not primary. They actually come after your spouse.
Yeah.
It's God, spouse, kids.
My husband has a hard time with that one.
Yes, and it's
Which I
an
admire
authority
because
thing.
he loves
Yes.
them, but
It is.
We gotta
but
set
it
the
has
record
to
straight.
be- Exactly.
First.
Father Joe out at our church is notorious for saying that if you, especially in his wedding homilies, that if you put your kids first or you put them on a pedestal, they will use you like an ATM and an Uber driver. They will.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about in the parenthood and the childhood episodes, or children episodes, that they need boundaries and limits and love. Okay? And love is boundaries and limits.
Right.
God didn't say, I love you so much, take over the world, do whatever you want. That didn't go well.
Yeah.
He then washed everyone away in a flood. And he didn't say that. He said, don't eat the apple, you can eat anything else in the garden, I've given you plenty of good things. They ate the one thing they weren't supposed to do. Proof that we never really leave toddlerhood. And then they got banned from the garden, okay? And sin kind of took over the world, and there were a few people who were still acting like God's kids. And he was like, I'm going to preserve you, get on a boat, take all the animals, and we're going to start fresh. And then he flooded the whole earth, okay? Like, digressing.
I was waiting for it. It's like, this just keeps going. Good points! They're good points. She's not wrong.
I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I'm kind of losing my point.
I know.
Because I'm distracted.
It was her, not me this time.
It is. The point of, like, all of those things is that, okay, I mean, think about it. Noah would have had fear.
Yeah.
About those things.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like, there would have been fear, but they still chose God. Everything else is auxiliary.
We have to keep in mind that fear, not all fear is from Satan, right? Fear is a natural human emotion.
Yes.
We have fear to keep us safe, right? I fear burning my hand, therefore I don't touch the stove, right? Like, some of it is common sense, but fear can
It's
be
a
used
part
by God, right?
to form your
but
conscience.
it's what we do with that fear, right? Satan uses our natural fear to then twist it and keep us frozen, right?
Yes.
So if Noah had said, that sounds like too much, I'm too
a little
scared,
freaked out being on the boat with snakes.
I'm gonna not, actually. I'm gonna try to swim.
Oh my gosh. That would not have gone well.
No! Right? He trusted. He was fearful, but he trusted in God's plan and his providence and his promise.
Yes, like there was pride in the garden, but also Adam and Eve probably feared that if they weren't enough for God, if they weren't like God, they wouldn't get to continue this beautiful relationship with him.
Yeah.
Like there was probably some fear there. There's probably fear when they were kicked out of the garden on their own.
Probably a lot of fear there.
Fear probably, fear that they would lose everything.
AA Ron.
People can use fear to murder. Like, you saw that with Cain and Abel. Like, Cain was like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I fear what I'm going to lose if I'm not the best.
Yep.
Whack. Like, you see it, okay? The Tower of Babel, they had fear and control.
Yep.
They thought if they built a tower to the sky that they could, like, find God or something and, like, control the outcome.
Because that's how it works.
Indeed. And God was like, boop.
No.
And then he did not give them Google Translate, okay? That came several thousand years later. It's true.
Confusion amongst you.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So our point here is like, and also there's fear of the Lord. But if you break down fear in that context, it is awe or respect.
Yeah.
It is a deep
It's reverence.
love, this deep reverence for God, not fear as
Not
in
being afraid of him.
Yes, exactly. You are in awe of his might and his majesty. And I think that conscious thing you were talking about, where you're like, I don't want to touch the stove, that's bad for me, that's hot.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this thing, it's bad for me.
Yeah.
That is this sense of awe and reverence, even for God's creation, for his rules, for morality, which he created. Like, it is that properly oriented fear. It's not like, it's not the kind that locks you down. When you come into agreement with the spirit of fear, you lock down.
Yep.
And then it invites all his friends and all its legions.
His friends
to
are
join
lame.
in. Super lame. Control, perfectionism. We talked about those for sure. Blame, that can come from fear. insecurity, jealousy, judgment. There's so many.
Yeah. All of these things, starting with fear, keep you from walking in your identity. When you give in to fear, you are not taking on your identity as a child of God. If you are walking in your identity, you are going to be fearful less. I'm not going to say never, right? Because there are times I still get...
Fear blocks kingdom work.
Yeah.
Fear blocks
1,000%.
kingdom progress.
I still get scared sometimes. You know, I had the 3 o'clock in the morning thing happen to me, I think it was about a year ago now. I just woke up and, I mean, it was different this time. Like, I could feel something that was not holy was in the room with me. And I know that sounds really intense and really scary, but it was just a feeling. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't, like, physically feel anything. It was just, I was just uneasy. My spirit was
not at peace.
Fearful. And but because I know my identity and I know my authority, I was able to hold those thoughts that that spirit was trying to put in my mind hostage, and I was able to start renouncing immediately, and I was able to fall asleep in 15 minutes. Peacefully.
Yes, meditative prayer is great. The rosary is great. I love knowing that, like, I got heavenly friends that have my back.
Oh, so many.
There's so many. So
also,
your guardian angel is always right there, too. They don't leave.
Please do not forget about your guardian angel. They are so cool.
Shout out
we
to
should
them.
do another episode on just guardian angels, because I'm
so
obsessed.
Cool.
They're super neat. And
they're there to fight these battles with you, to protect you, to guard you in all of your ways, and to carry out the mission that God has given you. They're here to carry your prayers up. They got a big role. But
they do.
You're right, like taking captive that spirit of fear and saying, you don't control me. Or, if you experience fear, maybe you're being called to pray for someone who is experiencing fear themselves.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ways that this can go. But the questions this week will be, what is your reaction to fear, and what fears come up immediately? And then kind of to walk you through how to pray through those fears. And you could print out the sheet as many times as you need, or copy the questions into your journal and talk to God about the things that you fear. Yeah. And He'll give you the next right step. Sometimes even your fears can be remedied by a prayer session, by therapy. They can be remedied by a good book even, or some acts of the will. And that will be very powerful to get you through it.
Your fears will change throughout your life based on where you're at in life.
And your spiritual progress.
Right. So that's why, again, we create these resources to be reused often.
Yes.
So we do encourage you to reuse this one, because
the spirit of fear comes around a lot because the enemy doesn't want kingdom work to move forward.
Right.
And I am a huge fan of the principle of bringing what's in the dark to light. So I love looking at my friends, my fellow Christian brothers and sisters, and being like, I'm struggling with this fear, and I'm speaking it out loud so it no longer has a hold on me.
Yep.
It can be that simple. And your friends will know to pray with you and to lift you up and to help you fight whatever you're encountering.
Get you good friends.
Indeed. The Lord will send them to you. We also talked about that in Surrender Your Friendship. So catch up on all these episodes, because there's some good stuff, some unhinged stuff. It'll be great. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe to the YouTube channel, or follow us on whatever platform you're listening on. Leave us a 5-star review. Please pray on that, because it helps us reach a lot of people, and it helps people know what this podcast is about without ever having to jump in and listen to it, which you'll want to, but it's fine. And we are using these to get some feedback to help us figure out. So leave us a comment if you feel like it while you're listening. Help us know where we can create resources for you on surrendering, and which things you want to hear about as we're finishing out this series and leading up to the release of the Cycle of Surrender resource. Yay! All right.
We'll catch you next time.
Indeed.
These scars, these are all signs of what happens when fear gets the upper hand. So much of my life was spent afraid, too afraid to do anything. I was afraid throughout my childhood, with a mom that wasn't very functional, exhibiting pretty disturbing behavior a lot of the time, and with a dad that was stressed out and with a short temper. And then it went on to me losing myself in high school, getting into drinking and drugs, just the classic, screwing up and getting off the path, not having a trust in the Lord. I still did well enough in high school, but I kept on drinking and taking drugs, and the drugs got more obscure and were even more damaging after high school, to the point where I had to leave school altogether and was just really barely functioning. I was reclusive, I had to work to pay rent, but outside of that, I was coming home and I was just being inside. I'd have late hours. I felt the most comfortable in the middle of the night when the rest of the world seemed to be, asleep. I could be alone and feel somewhat safe. And, all of these things did nothing but damage me, to the point where it was like a sort of a nightmare just to leave to get groceries. And it was horrifying. I mean, you get to that point and how are you going to not despair? I had no trust in God. I laughed at religion, thought it was all ridiculous, and so hopelessness was bound to get me. Thankfully, I was able to eventually be taken to a retreat where I confessed sin and was led through. I was led into healing, and the start of healing. And it's so interesting because you might think, oh wow, I was freed from all that fear. But no, I really wasn't freed from fear. The fear itself is still with me. It's in me right now. I'm afraid just to film myself and put myself on display like this. But I was free from the inability to act due to the fear. It's not as if the fear was removed, but it's as if I was given a certain strength. Which obviously I was. I welcomed the Lord, and the Lord brings me enough peace and enough strength to carry on and to do things even when I'm scared. And that's how I surrender fear, is I don't give it much ground to stand on. If I'm afraid to do something, like so many of the things I've done the past few years, then I actually take that as a sure sign that it's a good thing to do. Yeah, I surrender fear by trying to remember what happens when fear wins. I surrender it by saying, Lord, I want you more than I want to stay proud, because so much of my fear was protection of myself and of my self-image. So I'd rather be close to the Lord. I'd rather know God than to be proud. I'd rather, if I'm going to kill myself, if I already know what happens when you let fear drive you. It drives you to death. Because fear is the tool of the enemy. And it's not a useful tool for the kingdom. It's destructive. And so if I'm going to kill myself, then I want to do it spiritually. I don't want to destroy my body. I don't want to do more damage to myself. I want to take care of my body. I want to take care of my mind. I want to stay pure. And honestly, one of the best ways to do that has been to surrender fear. Is to stop fighting it I just sort of allow it. I do things even though I'm afraid. And I face humiliation because I do things and I don't do them very well. In fact, anyone that knows fear, like I'm describing it, like the kind of like overwhelming, just constant uneasiness, knows that when you go and you do a thing afraid, because you're afraid you'll do it wrong, then the fear itself and all of that panic is what actually makes you mess up. And I have that all the time. It makes it hard to think straight, it makes it hard to think clearly. I'll fumble my words, I'll just not have the words come. Or if I'm having to do a certain action and I want to do it right, just the way to do it well doesn't come, and it happens all the time at work for me. I'm trying to learn construction work and I'm in way over my head and embarrass myself constantly. But it's just all of it. Yeah, it's a little unfocused, but I think the whole thing is that I surrender fear because fear keeps me from the Lord. And I think the Lord allows the fear to remain because now, instead of it being a tool that the enemy uses to destroy me, it's something that I use to grow closer to God. I see it, and I'm able to work with it in a way that helps me to become less self-reliant, less proud. I am able to admit all the time that, God, I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. I believe in you and I trust you. I love you and I know you love me, and I just want to feel you with me. And it works. It just works. So I went from being in an extremely dark place in my late teens, early 20s, well, I mean, most of my 20s really were pretty awful, to where I am now, 33 years old, happily married, a newlywed, married to a beautiful Catholic woman who doesn't seem to be afraid of much. Very brave, very brave girl. Taking on a whole new type of work, one that will actually, open up opportunities for me in the future. It's not dead end, and that's the other thing about fear, is it's always dead end. It stops growth. And so, all this is to say that fear needs to be surrendered. It doesn't need to be eliminated. It needs to be surrendered.